You're sitting in your living room right now, lights on, phone charged, water running, every system that keeps you alive humming quietly behind the walls. Let me ask you something that might ruin your evening. What happens when all of that stops? Not the movie version. Not the slow apocalypse where you have 3 acts to figure things out. The real version. The version where it's a random Tuesday and the power just doesn't come back on, and by Friday the stores are stripped and the pumps are dead, and your phone is a black rectangle of beautiful, useless glass. Here's what I know with absolute certainty. 99% of people under 40 will not survive the first 30 days of a genuine grid-down collapse. Not because they're weak, not because they can't handle pressure. Because every skill they need to stay alive was quietly replaced by an app, a delivery service, or a tutorial they can no longer access when the signal is gone. But there is one generation that grew up before all of that. One generation raised in the gap between the analog world and the digital one. A generation that, almost entirely by accident, absorbed the most complete practical survival skill set in modern human history. I'm talking about Generation X, born roughly between 1965 and 1980, the generation everyone forgot about, and in a collapse scenario, potentially the last one standing. Today, I'm going to show you exactly why. Not the nostalgic version, not the romanticized prepper fantasy. The real mechanical, psychological, and tactical reasons why growing up the way Gen X grew up created a survival advantage that no amount of gear buying or online course taking can fully replicate. If you want to understand what genuine resilience looks like, and more importantly, if you want to start building it regardless of how old you are, stay right here. If this channel is where you come for uncomfortable truths wrapped in actionable intelligence, hit subscribe right now. Drop a comment with 2 words, analog or digital. Let's see where this room actually stands. Take yourself back to around 1978. A kid, maybe 8 or 9 years old, leaves the house after breakfast. Their parent gives them exactly one instruction. Be back before dark. No GPS tracker, no cell phone. No way to call for help if something goes sideways. That kid spends the next 10 hours navigating the physical world using nothing but spatial memory and improvised logic. They figure out where the drainage ditch leads. They negotiate territory with other kids. They fix a broken bike chain with a stick and a scrap of wire because no adult is coming and they are not going home early. That is not nostalgia. That is a daily masterclass in executive function, problem solving, and resource improvisation. And every single Gen X kid lived it. Here is the psychology behind why that matters. The human brain builds its problem-solving architecture through unsupervised challenge. When a child is constantly supervised, constantly corrected, constantly handed the answer before they've had a chance to struggle, that architecture never fully develops. It is not an insult to younger generations. It is neuroscience. The brain builds what it uses. Gen X used executive problem solving as a daily survival tool from the age of 6, and the architecture that produces is durable. Millennials and Gen Z were handed something that looked like an upgrade, but was actually an elegant trap. Every device that solved a problem for them also quietly removed a skill from their toolkit. Not slowly. Fast. Brutally fast. By the time the average teenager in 2012 was old enough to drive, they had never read a paper map, never manually calculated a route, never figured out how to find somewhere without a voice telling them exactly where to turn. In a collapse, there is no turn by turn. There is no signal refresh. There is no update. What you know when the infrastructure goes down is everything you have. And Gen X, almost without trying, memorized the physical world because that was the only available option. Let me talk about mechanical intuition, because this one never gets the credit it deserves. If you grew up in a Gen X household, there is a very high probability that you watched someone fix a car in the driveway. Maybe you handed them a wrench. Maybe you watched them diagnose what was wrong using sound, smell, and touch alone, because there was no diagnostic computer to plug in and no dealership software to read the code. That kind of diagnostic intuition, the ability to listen to a machine and understand what it is telling you, is not a skill you can purchase. It cannot be downloaded. It is built through years of proximity to real mechanical problems, and Gen X received that education constantly, whether they wanted it or not. Here is what that means in a collapse. When roads are full of dead vehicles and people are standing around a car that will not start, the Gen X survivor is already under the hood. They are not looking for a tutorial. They are not waiting for a tow service that is not coming. They are listening to the engine, working through the obvious checkpoints, and improvising a fix with what is in the trunk. That is a force multiplier that cannot be overstated. Now let me make an argument you have probably never heard before. Boredom is a survival skill. The ability to sit with silence, with nothing, with zero stimulation, and remain mentally functional is something the human brain has to practice. Gen X practiced it relentlessly. Think about a Saturday afternoon in 1983. No internet. 3 channels on television and nothing good on any of them. No games worth playing for more than 20 minutes. What do? You build something. You take something apart. You go outside and invent a game from scratch. You read. You sit with your own thoughts and develop an interior world that needs no external feed. That interior world is what keeps you functional when the collapse strips away every source of distraction. Research on psychological resilience consistently shows that people who can tolerate ambiguity and discomfort without external input maintain decision-making clarity under survival stress far better than those who cannot. Gen X did not study that research. They just lived the conditions that produced those results. And here is the part that almost never comes up. In a sustained collapse scenario, mental breakdown kills more people than physical threats. Not immediately. Over weeks. The people who unravel are the ones whose entire psychological scaffolding was digital. Their social connection, their entertainment, their sense of identity. All of it was external. All of it disappears with the grid. The Gen X response to that environment? They have been there. They know how to occupy themselves with nothing. They know how to maintain functionality in the absence of stimulation. That is not a small edge. That is the difference between rational decision-making and panic-driven disaster at the exact moment decisions matter most. Let us get tactical. Navigation. Real navigation, the kind that does not require a satellite. Ask the average 25-year-old to find a specific location 15 miles away using a paper map and no phone. Now ask the average 50-year-old. Before the phone era, that was just called going somewhere. Gen X learned to triangulate position using landmarks and terrain, to estimate travel time by reading the ground itself, to plan alternate routes before the primary route failed, not from a survival course, from daily life, because that was the only option available. In a collapse, GPS satellites may continue functioning for some time, but the devices that read them go dark when batteries die, and charging infrastructure fails. You navigate with physical tools, and that means you need a mental framework for understanding terrain. Gen X carries that framework as automatic knowledge. Most people under 30 do not. The solution is not complicated, but it requires deliberate analog practice starting now, before you need it. Here is something that almost never comes up in survival discussions. Social negotiation without digital intermediaries. Before social media, before texting, before every interaction was filtered through a carefully edited screen, Gen X learned to read rooms, to read faces, to negotiate in real time with real consequences and no opportunity to draft, review, and revise. You want to trade resources in a collapse scenario? You need to look the person across from you in the eye and know whether they are being straight with you. You need to read body language, read tone, catch the subtle signals that separate a safe deal from a trap. That skill is built through decades of unmediated human interaction. A significant portion of people under 30 have negotiated almost exclusively in text. Curated, edited, reviewed text with unlimited time to compose the response. The raw spontaneity of a real-time human exchange is genuinely unfamiliar territory. In a functioning society, that is fine. In a collapse, it is a dangerous vulnerability. Now let me get into what I call the fix-it versus buy-it distinction, because this is the philosophical core of the entire conversation. The modern prepper, and I say this with complicated respect, has a spending problem. Not a preparation problem. A spending problem. Their approach to readiness is fundamentally consumerist. There is a gap in the plan, so they order something to fill it. There is a problem, so they purchase a solution. Gen X does not think that way. Not because they are morally superior. Because they were broke, and because they grew up watching the adults around them fix things rather than replace them. A broken appliance was an engineering problem, not a shopping event. Improvisation with available materials was not a survival tactic. It was just Tuesday afternoon. Run the math on this. In a true collapse, your purchased solutions last exactly as long as your stockpile. When the freeze-dried food runs out in year 2, what then? When your water filter reaches its rated gallon limit and replacement cartridges do not exist anymore, what then? The gear is not the solution. The mindset is the solution. And the Gen X mindset is, look at what is available, understand how it works, and make it do what you need. That is the difference between surviving the collapse and surviving indefinitely. One is a duration problem, the other is a capability problem. Those are not the same thing. Let me give you a concrete example. Water filtration. In a grid-down scenario, clean water is your absolute first-order survival problem. Everything else is secondary. A prepper who bought a commercial filter has a solution until that filter fails or exhausts its rated capacity. A Gen X survivor who spent 40 years watching adults rig solutions from spare parts is going to build a working filtration system from whatever is at hand, gravel, sand, charcoal, any available vessel, and it will keep working. Not because they read a book about it. Because 40 years of solving mechanical problems with whatever was available built the intuition to figure it out. That intuition does not expire. It does not run out of batteries. Now here is something worth saying honestly. This is not an argument that Gen X is genetically superior or that younger generations are lost causes. What I am describing is a set of skills and mental habits produced by specific conditions. And the important truth is, those conditions can be deliberately recreated. These skills can be learned. The mindset can be built. But here is the uncomfortable timeline you need to sit with. The window for building these skills without pressure is narrowing every year. Every year of deeper digital dependency is another year of eroded analog capability. Every year of assuming infrastructure is permanent is another year of preparation debt accumulating. The grid has failed before, regional, national, and global. History is absolutely clear on this. The only question is whether your skill architecture is ready when it fails again. Let me teach you something that never shows up in any survival course: physical intuition of systems. When you have spent years working with mechanical, electrical, and physical systems, you develop something almost impossible to quantify: the ability to understand a system you have never encountered before by reading its logic. You look at the inputs, the outputs, the flow direction, and you figure out what it does. Gen X built this by taking apart radios they were not supposed to touch, wiring speakers in basements, fixing the lawnmower because no one else was going to do it. In a collapse, this skill lets you walk into an unfamiliar structure and immediately understand which pipes carry water, where the electrical main is, how the heating system flows. These are not small advantages. They are the difference between a shelter that works and a shelter that slowly fails you. Here is where the generational advantage becomes a multiplier for everyone around you. Leadership under ambiguity. When nobody knows what to do, when the plan has failed, and the situation is genuinely unknown, the person who has spent a lifetime operating without a map steps forward. Not because they are braver, because they are calibrated to that exact environment. Most people have never operated without certainty, without connectivity, without the option of looking something up. When that certainty disappears, they freeze, they wait for instruction. And in that vacuum, the person who spent childhood solving problems with no adults and no digital assistance walks forward and starts making decisions. That is irreplaceable community value in any survival group. Now let me say the uncomfortable thing at the center of all of this. Gen X is aging. The cohort of people carrying this skill set is moving through their 50s. Cognitively and experientially, the advantage remains. Physically, the equation becomes more complex in a collapse scenario that requires sustained hard labor. And that means the most critical survival variable is no longer the individual Gen X survivor. It is whether the knowledge they carry is being transmitted. The single greatest survival investment a younger person can make right now is to find someone from that generation and learn from them directly. Not from a video, not from a course, from a human being with decades of hands-on experience who can put the thing in your hands and make you do it until your hands understand it. Because your hands have to understand it, not your head. Your head can read the chapter. Your hands have to build the muscle memory. Here is your reconnaissance assignment for this week, because watching this means nothing if you leave without acting. 1. Identify one analog skill you have never properly built. paper map navigation, basic engine diagnostics, hand tool operation, food preservation without refrigeration. Commit to 4 deliberate hours with that skill this week, using 0 digital assistance. 2. Find one person in your life who carries the knowledge we have been discussing. A parent, a neighbor, an older coworker. Ask them to teach you something, not show you a video, teach you directly. 3. Spend this coming weekend with your phone on airplane mode during all non-essential hours. Notice what happens in your thinking. Notice the discomfort. That discomfort is your dependency making itself visible. Sit with it. That is not inconvenience, that is training. 99% of people who watch this video will not do any of those 3 things. They will think about it. They will bookmark it. They will tell themselves they will get to it when the timing is better. And when the grid goes down and the phone goes dark and the stores are empty, they will be the ones in the parking lot trying to figure out what went wrong. You're here. That puts you in a smaller category than most people will ever be in. But thinking is not acting. Knowing is not doing. The gap between understanding a concept and having it encoded in your hands and your automatic responses is enormous. That gap only closes one way. Repetition under real conditions, without a safety net, without a lookup option, until the skill is part of your physical memory. Here's the choice sitting in front of you right now. You can close this video and go back to the comfortable assumption that the infrastructure holding your life together is permanent and that someone else will figure it out if it isn't. Or you can open a new tab right now, pull up your region's topographic map service, download the offline version, and print 3 maps covering your area in concentric rings of 5, 15, and 40 miles. Then, go find that one person. Then shut the phone off for the weekend. 99% will not. 1% will think about it. 0.1% will actually do it. The generation that built this skill set did not wait for permission, did not wait for the right moment, did not wait for a better piece of gear. They figured things out with what they had, where they were, because there was no other option. That is not a generational trait. That is a decision. One you can make right now. Your move. Subscribe if you are part of the 0.1%. Drop a comment right now with the one analog skill you are going to build this week.